Oh, hey, what's going on? You're wondering what's happening right now, right? This is not the podcast you clicked on YouTube. What happened? Ironically, I want to tell you something. So, the podcast you're about to watch, the video version, was shot about 2 weeks ago. We shot it, we put it up. I was going to put it up, and then something happened. I went online and saw that the 50th anniversary of the movie The Exorcist was playing. So, me and Mr. Movie went to go watch it for you, and we interviewed some people beforehand, some people afterhand. So before this video starts with me and my boy sitting here discussing little details and minutiae things about the movie, I think you should watch what people came to see in the theater, why they came there, and when the video ends, don't forget to watch the outtakes of people who saw the movie and what they thought about it. Hope you guys enjoy. Working hard for you always. Enjoy. Yo, it's your boy KEC. So where are we today? Today it's a special night. We are at the showing, one showing a week, of The Exorcist, the original movie. Me and my boy, Mr. Film, over here. He's in the lobby waiting for me. And we are going to go see how we think the movie still holds up. We just did a podcast about this. I'm sure you guys heard it. If you haven't, go hear it. It's on iTunes. And the video of this will be up probably in like about a week, along with the actual sit down we had. But I'm about to go inside to the lobby. Let's see if we can find some people to interview. I know why I came here. Why did they come here? Let's find out. Mr. Movie has arrived. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. Looking forward to it.
You excited?
Yes, I haven't seen this movie in probably about 10 years, give or take. So,
It's only been 3 years for me, but I am definitely looking forward to it. So
yeah, 50th, but certainly my first time seeing it on a big screen.
I got
I've always
questions.
only seen it on DVD.
Oh, really?
Or streaming. I don't even know. I think just DVD. I don't
Really?
think I saw streaming. No.
You never seen it in theater?
No.
Oh, this is my third time seeing it in theater.
Okay, yeah, I've never seen The Exorcist, any Exorcist, not even Exorcist 3 from when I was in high school. This is the only Exorcist, right? So again,
All right,
I am looking forward to it.
let's see if we can find somebody who want to ask him a question. This guy with the Exorcist shirt on. I want to ask him. So you're here like I am for all these years to see this movie.
Yes.
What brought you here?
It's one of the greatest films ever made. Obviously, the director, William Friedkin, died last month.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan. I'm actually a filmmaker myself.
Wow.
Local independent filmmaker. I make scary movies. And if you look at The Exorcist from every conceivable angle, locations, it's all real. There's no digital crap. It's the real thing. So I think it's just one of the greatest films ever made.
Anything we can watch of yours online or anything on YouTube?
Yeah, you can watch Devil's Five and Double Vision. They're both rentable on numerous platforms, including Amazon. One's a horror film, Devil's Five, and Hitchcockian thriller is Double Vision.
You guys heard it, so go rent them right now. Go. What are you waiting for?
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, why did you come to see the movie? Like, what do you remember about this? What do you want to see about it?
Well, I'm not a horror movie maker, but I'm a horror movie junkie.
Okay.
And after 50 years, this movie still scares the crap out of me, which I'm very impressed by, because I've watched horror movies 2 and 3 times, and sometimes the second and third time, it starts to.
Yep.
It gets old. It gets it's not quite
mundane. Yeah.
So for a 50-year-old movie to have that effect impresses me. I think the thing that impresses me the most is the casting.
Right.
Whoever made those decisions with Ellen Burstyn, and I can't believe how good they cast this movie. No, I think the crux of movies now are the appearance of the actors.
Yeah.
And you can't always do that. Linda Blair looked like an ordinary girl.
Average girl.
Just an average, ordinary girl.
Yeah.
Perfect example is when they remade Carrie. And they used they used Julianne Moore as the mom. When Piper Laurie, you couldn't do better than that.
Yeah.
Carrie looked like a girl.
Yeah.
Sissy Spacek looked like a woman.
Yeah.
Who would be abused in school.
Yep.
But they use beautiful people now, and you don't invest in that.
Yep.
So I think using real people helps a lot. Real looking people.
And this reminds me of something. This is not my first time seeing this movie in the movie theater. I have seen it before in the movie theater. Kind of saw it. There she is. 50th anniversary. Fuck, 50th anniversary. How old am I? God damn it. People going in. I'm not the only person. See? It's kind of sold out. before I go inside, shout out to my lovely friend Buddy. Hi. This movie bring you back because I can't say much more on video, but this movie has memories for us. I don't know if they're good or bad, but they're memories of being a dumb youth. All right. Anyway, honey, bye, and I'll see you all. It's your boy. We are back. I know you couldn't wait, right? You're like, oh my God, when's Kenny gonna do another movie review? I want the classics. I want them all. I know you do. And that's why we're bringing them to you. Now, the movies today suck compared to what they did one time. Very few are very good. So I got my boy back, the man with the master plan, the man who knows what's going on. He knows all the details that I don't know because I'm not that smart. My boy Jeremy, welcome back.
Thank you, Kenny. Back like I never left.
And in the giving holidays, since October is coming and Halloween is coming, we are going to review one of the greatest legendary movies of all time when it comes to horror. And if you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been living, but we are going to talk about The Exorcist.
1973, one of the handful of movies which changed the movie business as far as how movies were marketed and promoted. And, you know, horror movie.
It changed horror. It changed horror forever.
It changed horror, and sometimes people exaggerate, but in the case of that movie, I don't think there's exaggeration, that people really were scared out of their wits and horrified by what they saw.
Oh, yeah, if you guys don't know.
Running out of the theater. I mean, I think that actually happened.
It did, and what we're about to tell you behind the scenes, besides what happened in the movie, people seeing it, your reactions as children, as adults, you guys have no idea what went through to make the movie. And sometimes movies are made, and you wonder how people survived the making of them. This is one of those. So you better get ready. If you don't know this, you're gonna love this shit. If this shit happened today, motherfuckers be in jail.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't.
The 70s, as Kenny knows this, the 70s were a time where filmmakers had way more creative control to do good, but also to make mistakes or do things which were potentially against the law. Nothing is live streamed. Nothing was retweeted. If a filmmaker said something stupid or offensive on set, it didn't get back to the studio. Now everything's recorded. So people walk on eggshells. And again, it's a creative process. But there were filmmakers who took advantage of the fact that there was nobody to like check them back and just pretty much did whatever they wanted. And William Friedkin, who unfortunately just passed away.
Yeah, he just passed. Which really sucks because October's coming and the new X is coming out. I was hoping he could be allowed to see that and critique it.
Yeah, gotta believe that's how he would have wanted to go.
Before we go to Friedkin, what do you think of Del Toro? What do you think about his directions, his movies?
I think that he's a genius. He's a great filmmaker. I don't love most of his movies. I liked his Netflix series, Cabinet of Curiosities. I thought it was very well done. Although, yes, it varies in quality. Some stories were better than it. The one with F. Murray Abraham I thought was the best. It was incredible. But they're all quality, and anything that has his logo, his, to use an SAT word, his imprimatur, it's going to be quality. The guy knows his stuff, and you could tell just in the way he speaks, he loves movies.
Yeah.
He loves movies. And I actually saw one of his early films in theaters, Mimic, again working with F. Murray Abraham,
very good movie,
and Mira Sorvino, Jeremy Northam. It was a film there. Unfortunately, there was a lot of interference on that one, and he felt that he could have come up with a better movie. But it's good. It's a different kind of concept, a little bit like I Am Legend, where you try to kill one virus and you inadvertently create something else.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I remember.
But yeah, Mimic is a solid film.
I was a Mira Sorvino fan.
Yeah. Hey, look, Mira, Oscar winner. She really hasn't had a great career since then. But
Oscar winner. I remember she was hot. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Romy and Michelle, terrific. Janine Garofalo and
that's right.
You know, Lisa Kudrow. Yeah. Very good movie. Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-fat, one of his early films in this country.
Right. Things changed, but Okay, who am I kidding? I see a movie every week in theater, basically. Because now it's more like me and my daughter go together. It's
Right. Right. And as you pointed out, it was a good summer for movies. You saw a
yeah.
lot of good movies this
But
summer.
I gotta tell you, man, from the age of since I was a kid, since my dad took me to see He-Man, and I don't mean Masters of the Universe. I mean there's a cartoon He-Man on theaters, then Masters of the Universe. I have been going to the movie theater since I was about 7 years old. Never missed. I mean, movies you don't want to see, I've seen in theater. When I was dating my wife, holy shit. We used to go to Blockbuster, and if you guys don't know what Blockbuster is, it's a store where you go to rent movies. Not like
So
on.
quaint.
You have to actually go there, and there's a little video cassette, and you put in a
Yeah.
VCR.
Yep. Video cassette
Yep.
recorder.
It's amazing. And then we used to go there, and every movie that was sitting there we'd seen, we're like, holy fuck. We've seen everything.
Wrath of Man, the one with Jason Statham.
Yes. That was, goddamn, that was a good movie.
It was good because another movie like we were talking last time, it doesn't go where you think it's going to because you know Statham's going to get his revenge, but we don't know for what and we don't know how.
That was great. Have you guys ever seen
all the
movie?
actors are great.
Yeah.
Wasn't
that a Guy Ritchie film?
Yes,
it was.
It
right?
was. No, you got it.
Oh, come on, that's why it was so. That's so many action stars like that, Jeremy. Like, nobody even knows who Gary Daniels is. This guy came in so many fucking movies. He was in Fist of the North Star, if everybody's ever seen the live version. Good-looking guy, tall guy, amazing fighter. Holy shit! Like, I mean, kicks to die for. And he is a good actor too, but never made it beyond B-grade movies. You know, the only person who actually has made it into A-grade movies and still is a side guy is Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins is another amazing fucking martial artist.
Right.
It's funny. I mean, we all know I love Ben Affleck, but it was between him and Ben Affleck for Batman. And of course, logistically, yes, Scott Adkins would be better. He can fight. He can do everything on his own. He looks a little bit like him. But I love Ben Affleck, man. I think he played...
he surprised people.
He played Batman. The look... You know what it was? There's this look that Ben Affleck gives.
But he also...
He'd
reached the right age to do that. Because the Affleck
Absolutely.
of, like, Good Will Hunting, and this is where, you know, Henry Cavill was up for Superman in the Brendan Routh era, but he wasn't old enough. It was the right thing. Hey, Pierce Brosnan... in the early 80s was being considered for James Bond, and that would have been a mistake because he was too green. So it's like, and Timothy Dalton in the late 60s, when Connery started to do, they're like, we got this guy at the Shakespeare Company, we bring him in, he was too young. So sometimes you have to age to a part. And Affleck aged to where now he's believable. He's got the sideburns that are great, and he looks world weary. That was
the point of Batman, that he looked like he had been through some shit.
Right.
And he didn't trust a damn person at this point anymore. And that's kind of what you got in the movie. You got this guy who just... But like I said, for me, had a lot to do with the look on his face. Like, I remember, like, when he was looking up at Superman and Zod destroying the city, this look of, like, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. Like, it's just... Even this one look, I'll never forget it. They showed in the commercial a lot. At that point, we know now, obviously we know, spoiler alert, it was Lex Luthor sending these letters to him to entice him to fight Superman. But he got this letter in the mail and it says, you let your family die. And he looks up at the camera and the look on his face, like, that's a Batman look. Like, I can take on the fucking world if I want to. And I can destroy a god because I am better.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go all the way back to it. I love how we just go down this road.
Sometimes our best moments, though, where our imaginations are triggered and we remember other movies that relate.
Listen, it's amazing if you guys don't love cinema. It's okay to love it, but I kind of feel bad for you because you guys are missing out. There's a amazing world out there that gives you 2 hours of amazement and peace and something to think about the rest of your life.
Yep.
It's not like we watched a movie, we forgot about it. When you watch a movie, it sticks with you, and sometimes those things inspire you, which is why, you know, I will always bring up the discussion again and again about masculinity in movies. Because I think it inspires young boys to be more. That's why I think it's important. You know, when you see Enter the Dragon, you see Bruce Lee beat up freaking 30 guys. Yeah, sure, it's just a martial arts scene, but think about what it does to a young boy. Holy crap, he's ripped. Holy crap, look at him use nunchucks. I want to take martial arts.
Right.
I want to be a fighter. oh, he fought for the right thing. I want to fight for the right thing. I want to fight the bad guy. These simple, like, architectural morals from back in the day, from before time was time, good fights evil, good wins over evil, good makes itself stronger. These are so embedded in our culture from time before time. So when you, like, for example, I'm not going to get into it. Don't even get into it. I'm just going to say it. You're going to end it right there because I'm not going to do it. Star Wars is a perfect example of it's just an architectural type of a certain storyline. You know it, I know it, and I mean that's where Lucas got it from. He watched old movies.
Yeah, the hero's journey.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a hero.
Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, just but I understand you guys are not cuckoo like we are into movies, but understand everything comes from somewhere, and there's a psychological reason why you guys like certain movies.
And I should point out to your point that Sylvester Stallone has talked about how he didn't say it the way you said it, but that he wanted to play a hero fighting for a reason.
Yep.
And then the joke was when somebody said, "Can you make another Rambo?" And he said, in classic Stallone, "Yeah, well, maybe if he's fighting arthritis next time." Because it's like he's run out of things to fight, so now he'll fight arthritis. But that's what he said.
I mean, you saw the last one.
I didn't like it.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of Rambo. I love Stallone. I love the guy, but he's made a lot of bad movies, and I don't think any of the Rambo movies are bad. But First Blood is a good movie.
Yeah.
And Rambo First Blood Part 2 is, you can see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm coming to get you. So many great moments in the film.
Yeah.
It's absurd, but it's a good movie, and you can see why his character does what he does. At least there's a process and a logic. But I just felt like last week he's just killing everybody.
Before we go back,
Yeah.
talk about The Exorcist, I'm going to say it one more time. I get it. Yes, everybody watching. Yes, I am literally the embodiment of toxic masculinity. Fine, whatever.
He's not. He's exaggerating. I know this guy. He isn't. Come on.
You know what it is? I was talking to Jamie. I am the archetype of a man. I drive a muscle car. I like lifting heavy weights. And I love violence. And I love I love movies that are very touching too, but that Rambo movie to me, I mean, the only thing I didn't like about it, to be honest with you, if I'm going to spoiler for you guys, is the girl he raised that died. That broke my heart.
That's rough.
Unnecessary. Dude, in that Rambo series, he's lost everything from the time. Lost country, lost family, lost everything. That didn't need to happen, goddamn Sylvester Stallone. That was unnecessary, Stallone. I don't know what you had to do that for.
Right.
She could have lived, and you could have taken care of her. But that last scene, it's funny, my daughter's just like me. The last scene where he rips the guy's heart out, that did it for us. As a family, me and my daughter's like, yes! Yes! I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're just like me. Just like when we saw The Punisher, and then the last interview in the show, when you find out who the bad guy really is and the betrayal that's happened, in the end, he's like, you like your fucking face so much, huh? You love your face so fucking much? And he rips his face across glass, like over and over and over and over again. And we were just like, I remember, I think my daughter was like 9. She was like, yes, that's what he deserves. I'm like, I feel so bad for somebody who crosses you. Like, I don't know. And the funny thing, my daughter's such a gentle human being like I am. Like, nobody wants to hurt anybody. It's a matter of, like I said before, defending other people is totally different than defending yourself.
Of course.
But, okay, back to The Exorcist, which we were talking about like 20 minutes ago.
Right.
One of the scariest movies ever. The effects were way beyond at that point what they were doing.
And I should point out they were mechanical effects. See, Again, my film school background, I can have a conversation on different kinds of special effects and what to use at what time. There's no computer work in The Exorcist.
Oh, there's no CGI anywhere.
So what they did was what you would call mechanical effects done during production. And there are certain movies, even to this day, when they can, in other words, the actors are actually on the set. There's no green screen.
Nope.
So if Regan MacNeil, if her head is spinning, it is a special effect, but it is happening on the set.
Yeah, like,
at that
actors
time.
Are watching it happen.
There's no models, there's no miniatures, there's no matte paintings. It is taking place when she's spitting up pea soup, which is supposed to be vomit or whatever, but she's actually doing that. They figured out how to do it. And so from the special effects perspective, that's a movie that set a standard for realistic mechanical effects done during production, where you got to hit your marks. It's like when you have actors and there's an explosion behind them. It's the same concept. Sometimes shit goes wrong.
Yeah, well, in this movie, just so you guys know, shotguns were fired every day. Why? Because if he fired a random shotgun in the air, it scared the shit out of people. And once he got scared, he's like, yes, there it is. That's what I wanted to see. Be fucking scared. Go ahead, here, ready, and roll. Like, the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? We shooting shotguns in the set. Did you guys see that movie? If you see, like, it's cold in the room, because he made it cold in the room.
He wanted them to be uncomfortable.
He fucking froze the room. He's like, I gotta go act. Like, excuse me? Like, gotta go act. Like, there was no... Like, I know, like, a guy sounds like a sociopath and a genius at the same time. But I gotta tell you, like, the man wanted to make that movie as real as possible. He wanted the fear in their eyes to be real.
Well, he subscribed, Friedkin, without whether he said it or not, he subscribed to the Alfred Hitchcock theory of directing actors. And famously, Hitchcock was once asked, do you think of actors and actresses as cattle? He goes, no, of course not. He said they should be treated like cattle. But Hitchcock was obviously a genius, and he had a great sense of humor, but he wasn't joking by that much. And William Friedkin was a guy who moved actors around like they were chess pieces. He really was not concerned with their comfort or how they were feeling on a given day. He just wanted them to get to the point where they could give him what he needed as the filmmaker.
He just wanted the fucking shot. Whatever it takes, I want that look on your face, and I need it. It didn't care if I had to cut you for it, if I had to throw you down the stairs. Whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna do to get it out of you.
All right, so Kenny and I both know the same story, and I'm going to ask him to set me up for this because I know how to deliver this punchline. So what we were kicking about earlier is a famous sequence in the film where they had to use a hydraulic to mimic what is the demon, Pazuzu, I think was the name of it, the demon literally throwing the Ellen Burstyn as Chris MacNeil. Away, is she throwing her away from the bed? I forgot.
Away from the bed.
Okay, so set this up, and then I'll
set up mechanically. The whole setup is really honestly the demons inside Reagan at this point, full-fledged.
And the mother is trying to.
Yeah, she's just if you guys all know, like now I know it's common for you guys to watch these movies, but the mother, the parents are always trying to coax the demon out of them. Please leave my daughter alone. What do you want? Be gone. I know this, but if you guys remember, this is the first time you're seeing something like this. Yeah. So it was a big deal. And the mother gets thrown back, one, and the little girl who's playing Reagan, she starts shooting her, like, almost sitting up and lying down, but like, rapidly and like being slammed into the bed back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
It's horrifying.
I mean, it's hard to watch, and she's screaming on top of her lungs. Guys, that's not fake screaming.
No,
that poor girl was screaming because she was like, "You're breaking my back. Please stop. Please stop." And he did not stop until he got the take, and she was injured the rest of her life.
Now that the setup for this was Ellen Burstyn's character getting tossed from the bed. And I watched the documentary. There are actually a few, but there was one on the making of The Exorcist, probably about 20 years ago, when they put out a slightly different cut. And the author, William Peter Blatty, and director, William Friedkin, they never really agreed on what should have been in the movie. Nope. And during this documentary, you can see they're still a little static, and both guys were 65, 70 years old at the time. But the first couple of attempts with the hydraulic, which was catapulting the actress Ellen Burstyn, who, as Kenny pointed out last time, is going to be in the new Exorcist movie, we should point out, just coming out soon.
They brought her back in, which is very nice. I like that. And, of course, the demon recognized her right away.
100%. So the first couple of times they attempted to do the scene, and they had other special effects set up of Chris MacNeil being catapulted back and landing, not nicely, landing harshly. And there's no rubber mattress for her to land on. She's landing on the ground, and we see it. Yep. So the first couple of times they did it, Friedkin wasn't happy with the result. he said, okay, we have the right idea, but we need to do a little bit more. And
Yep.
he's trying to figure out, and he goes to talk to the special effects wrangler. He said, you gotta send her back with more force. We need to get this
Yep.
shot right. So they do it.
You gotta tell you guys, the guys who were doing the effects, they were not happy.
No, they already even at this point, after a couple of takes, and this, as I say, is in this documentary, they didn't like the fact that Ellen Burstyn was trying to be a professional, but you could tell she wasn't enjoying herself.
No,
so
she's in pain.
So Friedkin, then they do it a third time, and they send her back with a little bit more force, and she gets up and she goes over to Friedkin, and it's still not the shot that he wants. She goes over to Friedkin and she says, Billy. Everybody always called him Billy. It's funny when we know them as William Friedkin. Everybody calls him Billy. It's with Robert De Niro for his whole career.
Yeah, Bobby.
Oh, call me Bobby.
Yeah.
Call me Bobby.
Yeah.
But he goes professionally, and Martin Scorsese is always Marty.
Marty, yeah.
It's just the way it goes. So
Yeah.
Burstyn, Billy, my back's bothering me. Can you please, whatever editing you have to do, can you just take it a little bit easier on me? I'm not feeling well. And Billy, Ellen, you're right. I'm sorry. But he placates her.
Yep.
Almost
Bullshit.
talking to her like she says, Ellen, you're right. We got a little over anxious on that one. I'm going to have the special effects wrangler and the guys you're working with, I'm going to have them loosen it up a little bit. We're going to take it easy, and we'll find it in post-production. So just get set up. So she calms down. She gets set up, and Friedkin tells this story himself, almost like he's patting himself on the back.
I've heard him say it himself.
He said, as Ellen goes to get fitted again, I turn to the head of special effects and I go, give it to her with everything you've got.
Give it all you got.
Give it all you got. And that's, again, film history is happy that the take was so brutal because it looks real.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and this really is the takeaway, Ellen Burstyn could have sued him because he told her
If this happened
that
today,
they were going to. No, it wouldn't have happened today because he would have known he would have got nailed for it. But it's
movie
like
production done, shut
right.
down.
It would have been shut down. Well, they would have fired him.
Yeah.
But Burstyn was such a trooper that yes, she was hurt. Her vertebra was injured. She continued on with the production, and obviously, whatever bad feeling she had, she came back for this new one, and it's some of her best work. Like, that's not the kind of movie you would expect to get multiple Oscar nominations.
You know what's bothering me right now? What's the little girl's name again? I forgot her name.
Linda Blair was the actress.
It's driving me crazy, man.
Yeah, as Reagan McNeil.
You hear Linda Blair's interviews? She can't walk right, man. I saw her in
So both the mother and the daughter were injured making this movie.
really injured. I mean,
Unbelievable.
That
I didn't know about Linda. I know Linda Blair was traumatized. I didn't know that she was
her
okay.
back is fucked up for life. Like
From the
hydraulics up and down. She when they made this is like a third one or fourth one she was in.
The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, I saw, but Exorcist 3 she wasn't. That was the one with George C.
3
Scott.
wasn't in.
Right.
There's some other one that she came back and just.
Boy, there was a comedy with Leslie Nielsen called Repossessed.
No,
That's not it? Okay.
She might have guest starred in the show also, which is really, really good actually. If you guys haven't seen the show, she was basically she talked about behind the scenes at that point that, look, I've never been the same. I was a kid. I didn't say much. I kept doing what I had to do, but as I got older, the back got worse and worse and worse. And they're like, listen, you fractured a vertebrae when you did that.
Yeah.
And then never healed properly because she didn't know any better. She was a child. And it just sucks. I mean, like, we are entertained. We think it's great, but look at what these people went through to make this movie. And the movie was, like I said, again, groundbreaking.
It was.
What I want to talk about, which nobody talks about, is where the story came from. Story is not fake. Story is a true story.
Right, there are exorcists, and the character based, that Max von Sydow as Father Merrin, that was based on a real guy.
Exactly, and the kid is too, man. It's not a girl, it's a boy.
Right, it was loosely based on a real exorcism, and yes, they sweetened it up, or in this case, brutally, for the movie.
I saw the house where they really did all this stuff. I've seen the making. I've seen the behind the scenes stuff. They went to visit it. The boy's obviously an older man now. I mean, they talked to him. He remembers part of it, doesn't remember part of it, but the mom remembers everything. And it happened in the Midwest. It wasn't anywhere in a big city. Nice little boy, and exactly what she went through, kind of he went through, and it took days and days to basically get rid of the demon. But it was based on reality, which is something that I liked in that point. At that point, even when I was a child, like it's not a totally fake movie. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not bullshit. This is what somebody had to go through. Um, Also, the movie, not Father Marin, but the main who ends up being the actual hero of the movie. What was his name?
Jason Miller is the actor.
Yeah.
Father Karras.
Thank you. Like that character, really portrayed what a hero really is.
Yeah.
His arc in the movie, he's taking care of his mother, trying to be a good priest, but he's not a nobody. He boxes. He's a worldly kind of guy. He's got friends. Can't decide what to do. Gets sucked into this thing with his exorcism, and it's a little bit beyond him. But in the end, if you guys seen the movie, he's the hero.
Yeah, he is the hero.
He sacrifices his own life to save the girl. As soon as the demon takes over him, he commits suicide. And which you guys find out later in part 3, he didn't die.
That's right. He made a comeback. Now,
Actually,
Exorcist 3, I didn't see when it came out. I saw
didn't
it
either,
later.
Yeah.
But it's stupid stuff, I remember. It was number 1 at the box office, even though I don't think it screened for critics, it meant they didn't think that it was going to be any good. But it's not bad.
No,
George C. Scott adds a certain weight, anything that he ever did. And the fact that they brought Jason Miller back was terrific.
It was at, if you see the movie in part 3, that last scene where they're sitting together after the demon has slowly healed this guy's brain from the brain damage he's been through from falling down like 300 stairs. It's been years, And the demon speaks and talks about what he's been through and all that. It brings a lot of the first movie back at you. And the series has gone on forever, guys. There's a part 1, a part 2, a part 3. There have been several, like you said, like offshoots, and then there's the movies that came to be that we all watched that would never have existed if it hadn't been for this movie.
This is true. But it's the same way with Psycho that
Yep.
Hitchcock, he was the only filmmaker that could have gotten a movie like that through because of the respect that he had already gained in the industry, the amount of money that he had made for the studios, and nobody else could have got Psycho through. When you start thinking about it, this is 1960. It's a movie about a cross-dresser, possible necrophiliac, with a mom fetish, bumped her off. Like all of this, they made that in 1960. It was because Hitchcock, with the goofy way he used to introduce his movies, he's kind of a clown. It's like, let's just let him make his movie, and then, oh my God, what did we do? But it ended up being a huge hit, and that spawned so many other films. Later, the slasher genre, it wouldn't exist without that movie.
Speaking of that movie, so we're going to talk about it. Let's just talk about one really weird thing. What do you think the fact that that's a true story too?
Yeah.
The fact that Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
They're based on the same guy.
and fucking the movie, oh my God, the movie with Clarice.
Oh, Silence of the Lambs.
Things. All 3 are based on one person.
Yeah.
And this person existed. There was a guy.
Yeah, Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Ed Gein.
Ed Gein from freaking Wisconsin, man. Like, if you guys don't know the story, he was nothing really wrong with the guy. He was just really abused by his mom from the time he was a child, like really mentally and physically abused. And when she died, he didn't know how to live because he was so used to having her around. So he dug up her body and kept it at home, and then would dress up like her and talk to him. Just like the movie Psycho, exactly like that. And then he started gutting people up and like using their body parts he just was so mentally fucked up.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing at that point anymore. He was totally sick. He died in the mental asylum. So he died a very nice person because he was, not really a bad person, just really screwed up in the head. But it's amazing, again, if Exorcist didn't happen, I don't think they would. Maybe Psycho might have still happened, but I don't know if the other ones would have happened.
No, probably not.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So when it comes to this movie, a lot of things stand out. Obviously, the actors, I think, were very well chosen.
Yep.
That's one thing that, people don't understand. If you have the wrong actors, it's never going to work.
Oh, wait, one other thing. Jason Miller, who plays Father Karras.
Yep.
You know who his son is, right?
No.
Jason Patrick, The Lost Boys.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Jason
that.
Patrick's grandpa was Jackie Gleason.
Oh, shit. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Nepotism.
Yeah. Well, of course, in his case, he had the chops to back it up. You know,
Yeah,
a lot
but
of big performances.
I didn't know any of that. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it's like I said, the movie. If you guys are, I'm sure I don't want to go with the plot. You guys already know the plot. Um, you guys have just seen it. I'm sure you scared the shit out of you. Every October it comes out again. Somewhere or another, we all go see it. That's where the new one's coming out in like about a month, which is why I want to talk about this. But here's my question: did you ever see the show with Gina Davis, The Exorcist?
No.
All right, so that was a continuation of this movie.
Huh.
It's the girl grown up and married, but the demon hasn't let go of her. It's come back. It's come back for her daughter. And the show was very well done. There was a part two. Part two had different characters. Harold Cho was in it, from the White Castle movie.
Sure.
Harold and Kumar.
You mean John Cho?
John Cho, thanks. I call him Harold, like
Yeah.
Harold.
He's
Harold
good.
Kumar.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Remember, he played Sulu in the Star Trek reboot.
Yeah, he was very good.
And there was a low budget film where he plays a guy looking for his daughter.
Yeah, that was
Goes
good
missing.
too.
That was another surprising.
He's just a good actor overall. I mean, I wish he'd get more roles.
Yeah.
The problem with that show was, and I'm going to tell you guys a little secret about Hollywood. When things get too close to home, meaning they get too close to reality, and people figure it out, they disappear. It happens quite often in Hollywood. So when it came to this show, The Exorcist, it started getting too authentic. I happen to know a lot about this stuff, and I was kind of surprised that the exorcism they used in the show at the end is from the Torah. It's probably the first one you actually use if you try to exorcise a demon. And things like that, and just certain aspects they had in the show were a little bit too... you guys have to understand me that reality makes these movies. Movies don't come from nowhere. So when people start to question too many things, they disappear a lot. We are lucky, in my opinion, that when it comes to the horror genre, people don't know how much is real, how much is not real. They think it's fiction. It's like when you watch political drama, right? As long as it's drama, you're like, oh, so this will never happen. Yeah, half that shit's happening right now. So same thing goes when it comes to horror movies. The Exorcist, when they came out, was thought of just like, that could never happen. Ask half the people out there today if that could happen, they're going to say absolutely. It's possible. Oh, I've heard somebody told me this happened to them. So, my question to you, Jeremy, have you ever had any encounters, anything like that, or have you heard of anybody who had any encounters of the supernatural kind? Since Halloween's coming up, I figured I'd ask.
I haven't had anything really supernatural that I'm aware of. People have told me that they maybe had nightmares with a certain pattern that they thought related to their life. And I would say that that's probably not a coincidence. But I never really
That could be
personally had
trauma
anything
too,
like
man.
that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, I don't know anybody who was exorcised. I have heard of exorcisms that have taken place, maybe on Long Island or something.
Yeah.
And it's odd because as a younger person, I was more likely to be dismissive. As an older person, I mean, it's supposed to be the opposite, that you become more closed-minded as you get older. But I guess
I don't think so. I thought the same. I just said this the other day to my parents, and they were like, "No, if you're wise as you get older, you get wiser."
right. But some people would say the wiser would mean that you ask more questions. But asking questions is different than immediately dismissing. So I'm just saying, as a younger person, when I first saw The Exorcist, I'm like, well, this is a complete crock.
Absolutely.
But I also didn't read, and I didn't know about any of the backstory or the fact that stuff like that had happened.
It's like, this can't happen.
Right.
I feel the same way, and it's really funny. So I was always drawn to the horror genre, just like my daughter is. I love all horror movies, and I gotta tell you that, growing up, we were into that. We were into a lot of ghost shows where they try to find ghosts and things like that, and like ghost hunters and cool things like that. And I mean, one show we watched a lot was Supernatural. It was just a fun show. Love Jensen Ackles, love Jared Padalecki. They're freaking awesome. Their characters are really good. Storyline is great. What I didn't come to realize is, not until much later in life, that the writing of the story, not story, but the things that happen in the show are extremely accurate to reality. Which made me wonder, whoever's created the show, Eric Kripke, what the fuck does he know? Who's telling them that these things exist? Who's telling the devil's trap is a real thing from the Book of Solomon? It's not a joke. Like, they're coming from somewhere,
Right.
and it's kind of all odd when you get older. I've unfortunately been witness to a lot of things I wish I had not seen. And you think you didn't see it, but I unfortunately had the experience of seeing things for almost 6 or 7 months straight. And it wasn't just to me; it was other people, and I wasn't the person involved. Other people were involved. So because other people were involved, and we weren't alone, it wasn't my psychosis by myself. There was other people that were there and saw and felt the same things. It makes you rethink everything. It makes you rethink these movies as well.
Right.
I don't think people understand that what the father in the movie is doing, what the priests are doing, it's really a gift. Not everybody can do it, and to fight true evil, it's very, very difficult. You have to really believe in yourself. And I'm going to say this to everybody again, and I say it in my podcast all the time. Faith is everything. Believe in yourself is everything. Everything that you manifest in life comes from a certain belief. But if you believe in a higher power, anything, it doesn't be any God, and whatever, I don't care what you call it. Believe something is with you and will guide you and protect you. It makes a big difference. And that's what these priests have. They have this belief that God is stronger than all.
Right.
And that's how they end up saving a lot of lives throughout the world. That other one just came out, the Pope's Exorcist. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I haven't seen it. I love Russell Crowe, but I haven't seen it.
Great movie, also based on a true person. I've seen the documentary of the guy.
Now, sometimes in pop culture, you have moments, big moments, that if you haven't seen where it's from, it doesn't make sense. And I hadn't seen The Exorcist in at least a decade. The first time I watched the original Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Yeah.
And there's a moment in the film where Mike Myers, I think it's actually, he's the Dr. Evil character, but he starts shouting, "The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you." And I remember there's people around me that are laughing. I'm like, I don't understand. What the fuck is he talking about? And then I watched
Yeah. That phrase worked really well for a long time.
Now, let me point out, so my specific film school background at New York University, I got a good range, broad areas of study, but I would say that the three genres that were the closest to a specialty: musicals, there's no way to go to film school and not watch a ton of musicals, westerns, and horror films. So my knowledge of horror starts in the silent period. There were a couple of horror classics from the 20s and going forward. Nosferatu, Vampire, The Golem, there were a bunch of them. And then on through the 1990s. So I don't like what is casually referred to as torture porn horror. I don't like the Saw movies. I thought the first Saw was okay. I thought the first Final Destination was okay.
At least the first one.
Hostel, those aren't, when I think horror, I don't think of that.
Me neither.
And I understand that is horror, but my definition of horror is very specific. And
I don't think that
not everybody agrees with me. So
that's just a slasher, bloody, culty film.
But genre-wise, it's considered horror.
I know it should have its own genre. Like, for example,
I agree. Torture porn.
My daughter asked me this last year. What's Hostel? No, what's Hostel? I said, baby, it's not Hostel. It's Hostel. So what do you mean, like Hostel? What do you mean, like? In India, hostel is where all the boys and girls go to stay somewhere when they're going to school. They go to hostel. She go, okay, I get it. So she didn't know what the movie was going to be like. She watched half of it, watched one guy to torture. She's like, this is stupid. She's like, what's the point of this? I'm like, nothing. This is what they do. They get their kicks, torturing people. She goes, this isn't horror. I'm like, yeah, I know, but this is not your idea of horror. I know what you want to see.
It's not my idea of horror either.
But the one movie that she did like, though, which I have no idea if you've seen it, how the hell you watched this movie, The Terrifier. I've heard, my friends have been like, we can't watch it. I'm like, I know my daughter loves that shit. It's about a crazy clown demon going around killing people. And my God, Jeremy, it's I couldn't. At one point, I'm like, listen, he's about to gut that girl. She's upside down. I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's the best part of it? What's wrong with you? But growing up, I loved all those Living Dead movies and Rise of the Evil Dead. And I remember watching them when I was 10, 11 years old. And I never took them very seriously. Especially, the one movie we're going to talk about next time, maybe, that I really, 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 really watched again and again. You know why I watched again and again? Because the guy who was the victim said, fuck this, and became the hero. He chopped up his own fucking hand, and he puts a goddamn chainsaw, and he goes, come get some. And he just went after the demon like, you, come on, come get some. Just come get it. And like, he fought the demon till the end. And as a kid, when you see, that's also inspiring. Instead of like the demon horror movie, like the person dies and they're all screaming and crying, please leave. He's like, hell no. Come on and get it. And that was a great movie, and that was Evil Dead 2. And it was just, it just, and then people don't even know this. There was like, they remade the movie like twice.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2 is basically a remake of Evil Dead with a bigger budget.
Yeah. And it's
And Sam Raimi, who obviously went on to have an incredible career, Spider-Man with Tobey,
love him.
and some of the recent,
In general, he's a great director. That's one person that, through the test of time, has made fantastic movies, whether they're horror, action, whatever they are. I feel so bad that his last Spider-Man never came to be.
Yeah.
He had written it. So, as Exorcist as a movie, where do you think it stands in horror movies of all time?
it's generally listed in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people who are watching it for the first time, I don't know that it's going to play with somebody who's used to seeing Saw, Final Destination.
I don't know, man. I think
Right?
it does. I think it does, because let me tell you something.
Well, it plays, but it's not going to hit the same way.
It's the problem that we compare for young people today is you have to pay attention.
Yeah, short attention span is not going to work.
Yeah.
If you look at, we all do it, but if you're half watching and half posting to TikTok, you're going to miss it. You're not going to understand, well, why is the girl jumping up and down?
Yeah.
Why is she cursing the demon or cursing out the priest? Like, you do have to pay attention.
You remember back then, the story was told properly. They really went about it slowly, nicely, picking up the pace,
Right.
showing you little things that were happening.
They don't race through it.
No.
The Exorcist takes a while to get going, and it's worth it because the build up, and you understand the relationship between the mother and daughter, and the mom is a successful actress. She has money, and it doesn't really matter because they can't figure out what's wrong with her daughter.
Thing is, like, today, you guys, when you watch a movie, you want, get to the monster, get to the demon, get to it. That doesn't make a good movie, guys. I mean, I'll give you an example. I just did a review for the movie Prashashini, which was now What Lives Within, or something like that, whatever it was I saw last week. I do admit, I think that they took too long to get to the demon in hand. But that's nothing to do with the story, because the story was progressing in that manner.
Right.
Once your story is progressing in a certain manner, it's time to expose what needs to happen. And this movie, The Exorcist, it was the perfect time that she started changing. It happened slowly, and then the makeup on her face, all of a sudden when her face changed, it was like, it happened almost overnight in the movie. It got to a point, which in possession is how it works, guys. It's oppression and then possession. Oppression is when, like, the demon is making you tired, you're doing weird things, you're acting out, acting like you're normal.
Peeing on the carpet, as Reagan does in a famous scene.
And that happens, actually really happens. And then eventually when you get possessed, it's the loss of your consciousness and the consciousness of something else taking over. And they did a good job in that in the movie. In my opinion, no matter what genre comes afterwards, and I love horror movies, I will always rate this number one. For many reasons. Like Arnold is number one, like he's the godfather of bodybuilding. This is the godfather of horror movies. It definitely changed everything, like we said, and it still holds up today. You watch it,
It does.
You might be a little bored and being like, well, what is this? Because, again, they really flesh out the characters. Father Karras' character is not nobody. They show his problems too. At one point, they show his mother dies.
Yeah.
And the demon tries to take his mother's form.
That's
Oh,
right.
you left me to die.
Dimmy,
Yeah,
why
Timmy, why,
Dimmy?
Timmy? You know,
Yeah.
love me. You let me die. Like, and it fucks with his brain. But if you did not have that relationship between mom and him, it wouldn't mean anything. That was the whole point of that. So that's why to me, number one still holds up. Um, any scene that you remember seeing the movie that stood out for the rest of your life?
Yeah, the scene with the crucifix.
Oh,
We'll leave it at that.
we can. I love you, people. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that once you see, you're not going to forget.
No, that's it. That's one of those things where you're like, let me tell you something. When I was a child, I didn't get that scene. I didn't get that scene until about 15 years ago, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, oh no, oh no, no. I'm like, I remember putting my head down, and my wife still didn't get it, bro. We were like 20 years old, and she's like, I don't understand. I'm like, baby. And then I told her, she's like, oh no. I'm like, I know. I said, let's not talk about that. But for me, when I was a child, the help me on my stomach stuck out. I looked at the girl's stomach to try and see what's going on. She's breathing heavy, and she carves, and the soul from underneath carves, and it helped me. And that was really sad. I felt like so, like, as a parent, must be so helpless. You can't help your child.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do. That and the makeup of Reagan in general, man, just stood out so much.
Yeah, it was great makeup work.
They did a fantastic.
It looked believable. Yeah.
Again, guys, we're talking about years and years ago. There's no CGI. There's no magic. That was the magic,
Right.
It was just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
So that's it for the stories, guys. I mean, look, it was a movie where everybody was tortured on set. They were made to feel afraid 24 hours a day. They didn't want to come to work. And I don't know if you heard, but I heard a lot of weird things happen on set too. Like things that were unexplainable.
Oh yes, I read that too. That there was a death. Just
Yeah.
a lot of strange stuff that took place, almost as if somebody didn't want them to make the movie. Wink,
yeah.
wink, nudge, nudge,
Yeah.
which is also possible. Like, I wanted to ask you. So I don't think for me The Exorcist is not. It didn't scare me. I was with the story all the way, but it's not like I was not scared.
I wasn't either, man. But it definitely caught my attention.
It gets you. It's a gripping, terrifying story, but as a horror movie, it did not scare me. I was not.
So let's talk about that for a second. Scares. Only 2 movies scared the shit out of me, where I did not sleep for a long fucking time. That's my fault for watching them. Snuck downstairs to watch The Howling. I loved werewolves and vampires. I always did.
D. Wallace, that's a classic. Joe Dante,
Good God, man.
great filmmaker.
The transformation of that movie was so beyond its time. There was a scene at the end where one of the main werewolves in the movie that's being hunted and who's caused a lot of problems says, you want to see? You're dying to see? Let me show you. And he turns into a werewolf. And the music, everything about the scene was so fucking horrifying. And the makeup and the transformation was so realistic, man. That shit scared the shit out of me. I didn't see it for, and the movie itself had a very creepy tone to it. It was just well directed in general, just really well made. That, and of course the classic, the one and only Nightmare on Elm Street. Man, I didn't want to go to sleep. I was Freddy Krueger scared the shit out of me. I really was so scared to sleep for a long time that if I go to sleep, I'm fucking dead. And I kind of wish I hadn't watched it, but such a great movie, man. Iconic.
It is good. I saw it again not that long ago, and I was surprised because I knew that Johnny Depp was in it. It was his first big role, but he has a bigger role in that than I thought. He doesn't have very much to do, and nobody who watched him in that movie would say, "Oh, this kid's going to be a star."
No.
But if you watch Nightmare on Elm Street without knowing who Johnny Depp is, he doesn't have anything to do.
He just has normal looking, nice, good looking kid.
A good-looking kid who is the boyfriend, and he's kind of a doofus, but there's nothing there. Then there are other times, just reminded me, where there are certain actors who are on the rise, or actresses, as I said with Reese, where they just take command of a role that is a nothing, and they make it memorable.
Yep.
And speaking of Sam Raimi, The Quick and the Dead, which is a Western. It's one of the great casts of all time. It's technically Sharon Stone is the star, but you have Leonardo DiCaprio before Romeo and Juliet, before Titanic.
Yep.
And you have Gene Hackman, who is the guy. Hackman was great every movie he was ever in.
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen was also in it, and Keith David, another actor who's in the movie on my shirt here, and Russell Crowe plays the preacher. And this was Russell before L.A. Confidential. He was still on the rise. He was making Virtuosity with Denzel.
Okay.
So he had kind of a big year, and that put him on a path for superstardom. But the role of preacher is a zero. It is a nothing character and a nothing part. But every time Russell Crowe is on screen, he's all you see. Yeah. He just had that ability to command attention with a look. He took a zero. So that's a guy that had the chops. That, unlike Johnny Depp, who had nothing to work with and did nothing with it, Russell Crowe in that movie, his part is a zero. And he's who I remember in the film. Sharon Stone's a star. I barely remember her.
I mean, I feel the way about Hugh Jackman. I mean, the guy was nobody from the second the man came on screen.
In X-Men.
Yeah, he had, and
that's right.
Actually, people didn't even know who the Wolverine was, but it didn't matter who the character was. It was him.
Yeah.
He had your attention immediately, like, wow. Like, he spoke, you wanted to hear it. Like, okay. And that's why every scene he was in became memorable, because it wasn't the character, it was him.
Yeah.
Until today, this is why he's back as Wolverine. They've been trying to replace him now for 5 years, but like, who the hell is going to live up to that?
Nobody.
But it's not just the character. It's the man that commands that screen when he's on it.
Yeah.
Going back to Johnny Depp, it's so funny you mentioned that, because before we go, I'll mention that in our review for the last movie we just saw, we were saying there's always a Johnny. I didn't like in that Nightmare on Elm Street the fact that Johnny Depp died. I think it's unnecessary for the heroine and all that, and the same thing happened in this movie. This poor girl, this really cute guy, like, really liked her, and he decided to help her out to try to figure things out, and she had to watch him die just like Johnny Depp. And that was funny, because I told my daughter, I was trying to say to my daughter that that's an homage to Johnny Depp. She's like, what do you mean? I said, maybe that's an homage to that great character that was killed in a horrible way that they had to watch. I said, if you watch her movies, they all come back to the same kind of archetypes.
Right.
And try to figure it out, like, where they came from. But it's ironic that we mentioned Johnny Depp, and I just mentioned that the other day with her. So that's it, man. For overall, for me, for Exorcist, if you guys haven't seen it, I know I didn't want to get into nitty-gritty of things. We know who directed it. We know what it was. We just wanted to discuss it in general, because if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It comes to movie theater again.
Now, I'm going to do something I don't want to do, which is I'm going to Google, but I'm going to see what service The Exorcist might be on.
It's not on Netflix anymore. It was. I actually own like several versions of it.
Exorcist.
I own the director's cut. I own the regular cut. I own a documentary about it.
Oh, okay. It's streaming on Max, and you can rent it on Amazon Prime. But if you have HBO Max, it's there.
Yeah, HBO Max. Hey, you guys go watch it today. DM us, send us an email. Let me know what you think. I'm very curious. You guys haven't seen movies, you watched them today.
Yeah.
What do you think? You know,
does it work? Do you find it scary? Is it just a gripping thriller? You know,
that's what I do with my daughter. She's a great litmus test for me. Before I go, like I said, I made her watch Superman, and man, she did not want to watch it. She saw Marlon Brando. She said, "What the hell is this shit?"
It's a 45-year-old movie.
Yeah, they're glowing. What is this? Didn't really care. What only that got to her was Reeve.
Yeah.
Like, what this one scene, he's standing on the boat like this in the beginning. He stops somebody. And so she goes, wow. Like, what? She's like, he's Superman. Yeah, they're like, Dad, he's Superman. I'm like, I know. We do that our whole lives. But like, so they washed over me too. I'm like, that's amazing that the character I grew up with is never going to die, is he? Right. He's going to be Superman. My kids will have kids. And they'll be like, yo, that was Superman. We'll still be looking for one in the meantime. And I feel really bad because Henry Cavill is great. I love Man of Steel. I did the whole goddamn thing.
He looks the part, the physicality, the whole thing, but nobody could do what Reeve did.
I don't know. It's something And I hate saying because I love Henry Cavill, but there's something magical in that role that he did.
What he did was, and he never really had another role. What his work as Clark Kent is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The way that he figured out how to change his body language, because he was a huge man,
Yeah.
6'4",
Yeah.
and as we talked about last time, he built himself up. He was 225, single digit. The guy looked great. But when he is Clark, he walks differently.
Oh yeah,
He's always playing with his glasses. He's almost hunching his shoulders. And you want to see
hunches, bubbles over everything.
you want to see a master class in film acting from a guy who unfortunately is no longer with us. Watch Christopher Reeve in the scene in Superman 1978, also on Max.
Yeah,
You could fire up right
that's
now.
everywhere,
The
yes.
scene when he is going to tell Lois before they "Can you read my mind?" that ridiculousness, but he's about to tell her who he is, and he starts to square up his shoulders in his
Yes.
Clark Kent garb, but he takes the glasses off, and suddenly he's an inch taller because he's not slumping. He's not Lois. He's not doing any of that blubbering stuff. And then he changes his mind. He puts the glasses back on, and he seems to shrink down. That 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, in another year, they're like, man, this guy's got to be nominated for something. That is,
Yeah.
they didn't even tell him how to do. He
No,
just did
That's
it.
all. Even just so you guys know, before I keep saying go, we don't go. The flying in that, it's on cable, right? But the people that operate cable said it wasn't us; it was him. He kept making it glide and make it believable the way he's moving his body.
Right.
He made that shit come to life, guys. I don't know, in movies you don't see that much anymore.
And another extraordinary moment, which they used in more than the first film, is at the end, after he has saved the day, spoiler alert, he doesn't die at the end of the first one.
Mhm.
As he's flying away, he breaks the fourth wall. He looks right at the audience.
Yeah.
That's something you're not going to see. And I don't know if that I didn't read about, whether that was Richard Donner, the filmmaker, or Reeve, because he could have done that, and Donner could have said, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But the fact that they kept that in, that, okay, here he's 25 years old. He's never going to look this good again because he's so young. We're going to take advantage of the fact that on top of everything else, this guy has a perfect smile. Like everything else is perfect from his hair on down, and he's got a great smile, and now he's going to break the fourth wall and smile at the audience, roll credits.
I've said it before I go, I'll say it again. My wife's little cousin, the guy who brought up my prodigal son, and we were like, it's 2012, I think. He's like 22 years old. Never seen Superman. And again, it was funny. I was in the next room, right? And I come back and the movie's paused. What's going on? He's like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, well, he's like, how can some man be so good looking? Like when he's like, look at him. I'm like, I know you're gonna tell me. I know who he is. But he was mesmerized staring at him. He's like, dude, the nose, the eyes, the chin, the smile. He's like the little curly thing in his hair. I'm like, I know. Believe me, I said, there's a reason why it's hard for anybody to live up to that role, bro.
Because he was what we like to refer to with bodybuilding people. He was a genetic superior. Christopher Reeve is a genetic superior. He was a guy who he's every single possible he was tall. He had a perfect bone structure, perfect smile, perfect teeth, perfect hair.
Yep.
And he was a terrific actor. He did everything well. And as we said last time, it's unfortunate he was only 42 when he had that terrible riding accident, which destroyed the rest of his life, which he only lived another 8 years.
It's really funny. we've managed to once again start a goddamn topic and never stay on it.
but it's true. But in just over an hour, we did cover everything from The Exorcist you wanted to.
We did.
We didn't leave anything out. Great stories.
Yeah, we didn't leave anything out. I always make sure, like, because we go off on tangents a lot. Did I leave anything out of the main point? No, we didn't.
We covered it. The brutality of William Friedkin. Yeah, we didn't talk about Friedkin's other movies. Maybe next time we could get into French Connection. But what he did in that film is something we both agree could not happen now everything. Because you even see, like, there was when I forgot what David Lynch was doing, but David Lynch got angry at somebody on set who did something without his permission. And David Lynch is famous for never losing his cool.
Yes. I wish you'd go back to those days, man. We'd have much better movies. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that, like I said, this summer was a good summer for movies.
Yeah, even Gran Turismo, everything
surprised.
you saw. And unfortunately, we're going to make a joke about it. The Flash, which I liked, and you said your friend John liked it too, and you were arguing with him about that.
What a piece of shit.
All right, so we can end on that. Kenny and I are going to agree to disagree because I like The Flash, and it's been #1 on Max because people who missed it in theaters are like, you know what? We're getting to stream it at home, and obviously it must be getting good word of mouth. It's been #1 since it hit Max.
It makes me wish I knew nothing about comics.
He would have enjoyed it if he hadn't known that
I do.
Flashpoint and knew that. Yeah.
I think if I didn't love comic books, I'd probably like the movie.
Or if you hadn't seen, because I had no frame of reference with Grant Gustin as so to me, Ezra Miller, wow, he's great. And you're like, he fucking sucks. The character's terrible.
Grant Gustin, that man has made you cry so many times in that show. He is such an amazing. There's so many times in that show as Flash, where they're like, "What are you gonna do, Barry?" He goes, "I have to die." And he looks at everybody. He's like, he walks right into his death. You know, even the small things in that show, like, you know, I know it's really funny stuff. My ex-girlfriend this. I used to tell her if I'm ever really, really tired, right, and I can't do something and I'm ever down, you know, she's like, well, how do I motivate you? She said, just look at me and just say, "Run, Barry, run." And she's like, what does that mean? I'm like, you won't get it. Years later, she's dating somebody else who's into the show. So she goes and watches The Flash. And it's funny, she calls me like, middle of the day, I'm like, what happened? She's like, I get it now. I'm like, what? She's like, what that means to you, like, overall, like, in your heart. Like, well, he's like, I saw the show. And I understood that moment when what that word meant to him. It didn't mean, like, really run. It meant, like, do everything you have to save everybody. Pick up and be the best of yourself and show the world, show everybody who you really are. Things like that are priceless, man. In movies, when something moves you like that.
Right.
And I had the exact bullshit opposite of that in the movie. Where I had this retarded fucking person who doesn't deserve powers, having powers, who messed up the whole universe and was like, oh, well, oops. Sorry.
I thought he was your cousin. See, I thought that was a riot when he was so dumb he didn't realize that they were with Bruce Wayne Batman, right?
God,
I don't want to hold him up here.
What a fucking nightmare. But anyway,
we've had a terrific chat today, dare I say. Our third terrific chat.
It was fun.
And
no, next time we're going to get something more serious. And we'll talk about movies will never stop, guys. I love cinema. I told you that from day one.
Yeah, but we'll mix it up.
It's funny because this kid in the movie that I go to, he told me this like 2 months ago, you should do a podcast. I'm like, I will. So when I saw him last time, I did. He's like, he was so excited. And I was like, yeah, we talk about other things besides movies. But I realized how much I do love cinema. And my daughter does too. That's why me and Jeremy are constantly talking. When we're in the car taking a drive, movies come a lot up. Yeah. Oh, Dad, I saw this yesterday. It sucked. The acting sucked. This was good. That was good. It's something that we talk about a lot because cinema affects all of us. And I hope, man, we have better movies in the future. You know, there can be some really good ones coming out. Could be crappy ones, but let's pray what happens. I'm KPC. I'm out. Thank you so much for listening to us and watching us. And this is
Jeremy, and see you next time.
Peace out, guys. Oh, hey, you're back. It's over. I know that was a long podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But don't go anywhere. So, lo and behold, that was shot 2 weeks ago in my studio. And we didn't think we'd get to the Exorcist again so soon. We thought we'd have to watch it on DVD or something, or iTunes. And then we found out it was playing in the movie theater, 50th anniversary. So as you saw before the video, before the podcast, we went to introduce some people to why they were there. And take a look at what we had to say about it afterwards. After actually watching the movie again, after a while, how it held up and what we think. Go ahead, take a look. Take a look. Go now. Oh, you're waiting for me to go. I was waiting for me to go. You guys are funny. Later. Don't be nervous. So you just saw the movie.
Yes.
What'd you think?
I feel like I have like two different perspectives on it. Like as a film student, it was like, okay, that was absolutely art.
Perfection, right?
Right. Like that was film art. Like I didn't go there really for the story that much.
Right.
As a film student, again, I didn't go there for the, I want to be surprised. Oh, I want, like how everybody else goes normally for a movie.
Yeah.
It was more like, okay, yeah, I'm here for the art. Like this is history and this is art and this is something that has like they made me watch it in film school. That's how I know it's one of the most important horror movies next to like what, Psycho?
Second,
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I just feel like it was great. It was great to see it on a big screen because like we've never got to do that.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah, in film school they made me watch it a million freaking times.
I wish I went to that film school.
And mind you, it was a high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's only because the cameraing was just dynamic. So they wanted us to see how different cameraing works, and that one stuck out to me.
I definitely
apart from Hitchcock. You know?
Have you seen it in theater before? Or is it the first one in theater?
Oh, this is my first time seeing it in theater.
That's awesome.
It was like so crazy. I'm like,
Very
whoa,
cool.
everything looks actually more like vibrant and in your face and more gory.
And I was asking other people, and I wonder what do you think? You know, back then movies were an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
This is as long as like Star Wars.
This is a Marvel movie, basically.
Yeah.
This is like a Marvel movie.
What do you think about that? Like, I didn't realize people back then must have been like, what the hell is going on?
As a person in, I guess, younger generation,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us don't have the attention span for that. But as a person who is into film and loves Marvel, I was all here for it because give me the detail, give me the background, give me the, you know.
I think your generation is rather lucky. When I was growing up, I hated the movies were an hour and a half long. No, because I'm also Indian, and Bollywood movies are 3 hours long.
Yeah,
minimum,
they're forever.
Minimum.
That's like Nollywood.
Yeah.
It's forever. It's forever, yeah.
And you're going to watch like Van Damme, and you're like, it's over? No, fight some more.
You get older, you're like, wait, that's it?
That's it?
You sure?
I paid $20 for this. Come on, give me something else.
Yeah, no, you got some more. Give me more. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank
it
you
was
so
great.
much. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Keep going.
All right, here we go. So you came out of the movie. What'd you think?
I had forgotten at least 2/3 of it. You know, the main points. If you had said how long is the Iraq sequence at the beginning, I thought it was like 3 minutes.
Right.
And then I thought that Reagan started to become unwell faster.
Okay.
And there were more scenes of her behaving comparatively normal. And I guess I forgot a couple of the scenes of the brutality. And oddly enough, they rolled the credits. And when it said Warner Brothers 2000, this was the so-called, I don't know if they called it a director's cut.
They did,
but they added the scene. So I had actually seen this version. I still forgot a lot. So I saw the original theatrical cut and this. It's the same movie. This is just a little bit more elongated. It's a little more brutal.
Right.
They give you even less of a break in this version.
Yeah.
But I mean, the film it's horrifying, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror film. But it is a horrifying story.
It's odd. I actually find it, like I was telling you, there were scenes that I actually thought was scary that were not supposed to be really scary.
Right.
It's very directed very well.
Yeah, it's and as we, the editing is amazing. The way that some scenes end before you think they're going to, and it's smash into the next one.
Yeah.
It's just, Friedkin directed it like he was possessed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny. We did this podcast, and you guys already heard it. If you guys are hearing us right now, you've heard this already on the audio. So nothing new, but I think we are more taken aback now than we were a week ago when we did that because it's so fresh for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing, it's personal. I didn't realize the release date was December 26, 1973. I was born 3 days later.
I was born a day later.
So this movie was literally released 3 days before.
Oh, you were born in 73.
12/29/73.
Wow.
3 days.
Wow.
Yep. True story.
Wait, this movie came out during Christmas?
That's what the Ben Mankiewicz, oddly enough, his father is the guy that wrote Superman.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
But that's the guy. And the uncle, Herman J. Mankiewicz, was the guy who worked on Citizen Kane with Orson Welles. So that Mankiewicz family is connected all the way back through the generations, all geniuses.
Well, brilliance all around. Thank you, man, for your opinion. Appreciate it, man.
Very well.
Talk to you soon, brother.
All right.
So, what did your boy think? I did not remember this movie was so good. So this movie is not really a movie, it's more of a masterpiece. They don't act like that today in movies. Every actor was extremely moving, extremely convincing. The mother did an amazing job. I'm a parent, so perhaps it's a little different now that I'm a parent. I felt her pain. I cried twice. If that was my daughter, I'd freak the fuck out. Also, on a personal note, which I will not talk much more about, This movie brought back a lot of bad memories. Um, you'd be surprised how close to home this movie hits with me. And that was also hard to watch. Unfortunately, not for everybody in life. There's not always happy endings, guys. Sometimes the demons win. Anyway, masterpiece of a movie, better than most movies I've seen today. I don't think anything today can really compare. There's too much about Flash today. I will say one thing: if you watch this movie, there are scenes that there's nothing even going on, and they're scary. That's world-class direction. There's a scene where the main father is sitting and staring, drinking tea, staring at nothing, and it was creepy as hell. That was weird to me that I got creeped out by nothing. Anyway, so that's our review. Hope you guys like it, and movie is better than we remember. If next time it's coming out next year, I suggest you all go and watch it. Peace out. KPC out. I'm sorry for all the pain you had to endure. I'm sorry for what you had to go through. I'm so sorry you had to suffer for so long. I'm sorry we didn't win that day. And I'm sorry we couldn't win that night. But now you're free. Rest in peace and be forever happy. We will always miss you. Be at peace.